It's Toma time! What is going on, guys? Toma Tales here with another UFC video. Now, over the past few weeks, there has been so much talk about who the pound-for-pound king is. And most people, mainstream media, have been chanting Islam Makhachev's name. Now, Dana White personally has stuck to his guns and always said it is Jon Jones. He is clearly the #1 pound-for-pound fighter. Until last weekend, for the thousands of time, another reporter asked him, is Islam Makhachev finally the pound-for-pound king in your own eyes, Dana White? And he said, sure, guys, sure, I'll give it to him. Islam Makhachev is pound-for-pound #1. Now, clearly, Dana White didn't really mean it. He was just tired of hearing it. But even with that being said, I don't think Dana White is right whether he thinks it's Jon Jones or Islam Makhachev. Because in my eyes, after last weekend, I know it's not really thought about really, but it just clicked in my mind. It really just clicked after watching the performance and then looking back at all the people this fighter has fought to get to where he is. I think Merab Dvalishvili is the pound-for-pound #1 fighter, and he deserves to be looked at as just that, the pound-for-pound #1 fighter. Not only is he good for the sport within the octagon, but he is actually one of the few foreign fighters that makes it happen outside of the cage as well, with the entertainment aspect of it. Merab Dvalishvili had to do it the hard way. This man got nothing handed to him. And when you really look at the last few fights he has had, let's just take a look at the last 8 fights. You will get an understanding of how much he deserves to be looked at as the pound-for-pound #1. Let's just take a quick look at it. His last 8 fights: John Dodson, Cody Stamann, Marlon Moraes, Jose Aldo, Peter Yan, Henry Cejudo, Sean O'Malley, and Umar Nurmagomedov. I mean, how impressive is that resume? How impressive are his last 8 fights that have gotten him to this spot in his career, this point in his career? And it's crazy to me that it's not clicking in their head that this guy truly is the pound-for-pound #1. And I think it's mostly because of how he's beaten the people he has beaten. He is a dominant champion. He doesn't get busted up. He doesn't get taken down. He doesn't lose rounds, barely ever. The only rounds he has lost was to Umar Nurmagomedov in his last fight. Do you know who Umar Nurmagomedov is? He is one of those Dagestani wrestler fucks who every single fighter loses to. They do not lose. But guess what? If you go up against a Merab, you will lose. And that's why I'm beginning to respect Merab so much. And that's why in my eyes, he is pound-for-pound #1. Now, before I had Merab as pound-for-pound #1, I was the type of guy that thought Alex Pereira was pound-for-pound #1. Because he did it in the middleweight division, and he did it in the light heavyweight division. But the reason why I put Merab over Alex Pereira now is because Merab has beaten every single style the UFC has to offer him. He beat the pure striker in Sean O'Malley, who knocked out the pure wrestler in Aljamain Sterling, showing that Merab is just at a different level. He beat the straight, vicious Dagestani wrestler who can also strike in Umar Nurmagomedov. He beat Triple C Henry Cejudo. He destroyed an amazing, talented fighter in Peter Yan. And now, in my eyes, he sits at the top of the pound-for-pound rankings. Now, with that being said, Islam Makhachev. You guys know how I feel about Islam. I find him overrated and I find him bad for the UFC. I find him to have no personality. He just simply doesn't try outside of the octagon. Inside of the octagon, he is a good fighter, but he is not as dominant as Merab. He went 4 hard-fought, busted-up rounds against washed-up Dustin Poirier. Now, whether you agree that Dustin Poirier is washed up or not, it doesn't matter. He should still be able to take him down just like Khabib did in his prime and not let him up. He went 5 hard-fought rounds with a great Alexander Volkanovski, but a 5'6", 145-pound Alexander Volkanovski, and many people thought he lost that fight. Nowhere on Merab's resume in the last 8 fights will you see anyone say he didn't deserve that victory like you see with Islam. And that's why I have Merab at #1, Alex Pereira at #2, and Islam Makhachev at #3 on the pound-for-pound rankings. Now, why I'm so happy that Merab Dvalishvili is the bantamweight champion is because he puts in the effort. My biggest criticism of all these foreign fighters who don't speak English is they're 100% talent, 0% personality. They don't care to promote themselves outside of the cage One of the only foreign fighters that has been doing it and has done great at it is Alex Pereira. This man doesn't speak English, but still became the #1 seller in merchandise in the UFC last year. He is amazing, he is awesome, and we all love him. So that makes me question, why can't Islam Makhachev do that? Why can't he just put in some effort, entertain us with his personality, put some skits out there, put some videos out there. Let us get to know you so we can love you, besides just the way you fight, which hasn't been impressive, and that's why I don't rate Islam highly. He's lazy outside of the cage, and all he cares about is fighting. MMA, UFC, is not just a fighting sport. It became so popular because it's 50-50 entertainment and 50% fighting. And so, why I rate Merab so highly is because of what he does outside of the cage as well. He puts up all these skits, he puts in so much effort into each opponent he fights, and it creates laughter, it creates social media buzz, and that's why people like Merab. That's why when you see Merab fighting, the crowd cheers for him, because they see the effort that he puts in, not just inside of the cage. All these fighters are great inside of the cage, but what separates them is their outside personality. Now, even though Merab isn't very interesting inside of the cage, this man still puts on a show for us. He talks to Donald Trump. He talks to Dana White while he has Henry Cejudo on his back. He's talking to the crowd or whoever while he has Umar trying to take him down. This man is a showman. This man is a great fighter. And this man deserves to be #1 on the pound-for-pound rankings. Put some respect on Merab's name, because this guy will be here for a long, long time. I truly don't see a single fighter in his division that can beat him. And to all the other foreign fighters that lack and don't care enough to promote themselves, please do better, because a lot of fans will not come around to you. There's a reason why the UFC is struggling. Ratings are down. Pay-per-view numbers are not being released. Embeddeds aren't hitting 1 million views. Press conferences aren't being watched anymore. It's because of these foreign fighters who don't try. The Islam Makhachevs, the Magomed Ankalaev, who you never hear about unless he's fighting. The Bilal Muhammad, who only became something because he is a champion now. Merab Dvalishvili is doing it better than all of them, and that's why he has my full support and respect, and he's my pound-for-pound #1. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. Let me know who your pound-for-pound #1 is, but you better back it up, because to me it's clearly Merab. Peace out, guys.